President Trump almost killed almost 3 months ago. Do you remember where you were? Where will you be tomorrow? He is going back to the exact spot where he almost lost his life, Butler, Pennsylvania. My understanding is it's going to be set up right there, right by the barn, right where all of this happened. And you can watch it on Newsmax, just like you could watch the rally on July 13th on Newsmax. It's going to be great. And a lot of folks, I mean, the families of everybody, Corey Comparator's wife, daughters, and so many great people. And the crowd, huh? You know, they haven't gotten enough credit. The crowd on July 13th that did not run. I mean, shots fired from an overhead position. It's like automatic, kind of, you think, right? Everybody runs. There might be a near riot. There wasn't. And that is amazing. We're still learning about the horrific Secret Service failures, though. One of them, the drone situation. You know, they had a drone. The Secret Service had a drone, but they could not figure out how to fly it. Yet Crooks, the shooter, he had a drone. He could figure out how to fly his, but the Secret Service, a multi-billion-dollar federal agency, could not fly a drone. Have you ever flown a drone? It actually is not that hard, not that big a deal. We found this out also about the Secret Service. Man, that is an organization in such turmoil right now. One of the top uniformed officers at the White House, well, apparently was moonlighting as a real estate agent. Not sure which one, but had a very senior position heading the White House uniformed staff, and was also a real estate agent. Okay, but not really. Not when your responsibility is that big. You shouldn't be moonlighting, and you shouldn't be promoting people who bought a house through you in the Secret Service. Apparently that was happening. Big report in the Times today. All right, we'll have more on that later perhaps, but right now, what is happening with the recovery down south in the aftermath of Helene? It's bad and getting worse. No relief in sight, or there's some, but it's confusing. This was a really bad storm, of course. I mean, biblical. Take a look. The mudslide. This video just became available today. Watch. Yikes, right? Trees down all over the place. Houses destroyed. Just bad stuff. But making it worse is the anemic response and the federal government making excuses or pretending that they're doing a good job when they're not. And you heard this thing about the pilots and the helicopters and people who want to help but have been prevented from doing so. These two guys, the guy on his left is the father, his co-pilot is actually his son. They own a helicopter. They are rescuing all kinds of people, and then they ran into some trouble. Here's their helicopter, by the way. It's a small one, but it's a utility helicopter, and they were doing great work. And then the pilot had a word with a local official.
I was greeted by the, at that time I didn't know, but Lake Lure fire chief or assistant chief maybe, and he shut down the whole operation. So at that point I felt like the conversation wasn't going any further. And again, he asked me to leave. At that point, I asked him, you know, what was the reason I had to leave them there? And he said, again, you're interfering with my operation. I just need you to get out of the area. I said, sir, I don't know where you were trained at, but I know how my training is, and I'm not going to leave personnel behind. I'm going back to get my co-pilot. He said, if you turn around and go back up the mountain, you're going to be arrested.
How about that? And we've heard all kinds of stories like that. What is happening? And the fire chief, why would he do that? Getting orders from the federal government, FEMA? When have they failed us before, right? When have they not failed us? These videos from Jordan Lanning, the young man who was on the show with us last night. You saw him, his story, and Amanda's touched a lot of people. It's like a ghost town, right, in some of these areas. And I think this is Walmart, the aftermath, just devastating. Now, Joe Biden did get his ticket punched, right? He did a flyby in a helicopter. But overall, Joe is very, very confused. When he got back, not too late last night, 8:45 or so, Joe, Mr. President, so what do they need in the storm zone? You just got back. Give us a report.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President?
Okay.
What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm they're talking about. They're getting everything they need, and they're very happy across the board.
The liar that he is. Everybody's happy. Everything they need. Everything is great. And it's so just automatic. He's been doing it his entire life, hasn't he? What were those words one more time? They're getting everything they need, and they're very happy across the board. No, that's not true. Maybe he's happy because he's been talking to David Axelrod. No, they're actually enemies because Axelrod was Obama's guy. And as you see, North Carolina and the bad shape it's in the western part of the state there, guess what these political people are doing? Maybe we can make North Carolina go Democrat. It is a swing state. This is Axelrod, the guy over Obama's shoulder. And he was at the White House. He's been with Obama for like 20, 30 years, something like that. And he's got a big podcast right now. And listen to him, the way he talks about the political opportunity. And he's a snob. Listen to what he thinks of MAGA people.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes,
these
another
storms. And there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of Republican voters
Asheville's
there.
key.
But those voters in Asheville are they're the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who've had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign.
How do you read that? It's open to interpretation. My interpretation is that he thinks that the people in Asheville, which is pretty much a blue city, they're smarter somehow, right? And they're going to have their act together when it comes to voting. But the people in the mountains, I wouldn't be so sure about that, David Axelrod. You're not going to be able to stop us or anyone that I know, certainly in Western North Carolina, from turning out to vote, certainly if they're MAGA.